52 to me, I never had a gas off. I was fooling me, so I put my mask on. Keep it to me, gotta keep the night.
Quickly before the video starts, I just want to mention thank you guys so much for all the support recently. It's honestly been unreal. And if you guys are new to the channel and want to drop a sub, it's 100% free and you can change your mind at any given moment. Now let's begin with the tutorial. Alright, so once you're in DaVinci Resolve, let's go into your project timeline settings in the bottom right hand corner and put timeline resolution to custom. From here, put it to 2560 by 1440. Next, let's change the frame rate to 60 and then scroll all the way down until we find retime process and make sure nearest is selected. Then let's hit save. With that out of the way, let's go to playback, go to render cache, and make sure smart is selected. Now let's sync up our clip to the kill beat on our song. Once you have your clip fully synced up, we can fade it in by about 130, just like this, as well as the clip's audio and our song as well. Now from here, make sure you're on your kill and let's go 122 frames to the left. So an easy way to do that is drag an adjustment clip and go to the start of it, right click on it and select open in Fusion page and go to frame at 122. So as you can tell, I'm on frame number 122. Now let's go back into the edit tab, cut the adjustment clip, and then make sure the end of the adjustment clip starts on your kill. So it should look something like this. Let's go to the start of the adjustment clip and let's cut our clip just like this. Now from here, you can delete the adjustment clip, and on this cut section on the right, let's right click on our clip and select unlink clips, and let's delete the audio as we do not need it, and then make sure to fade this out by about 30 frames just like this. Now the velocity for this clip is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be velocity that matches up with the flicker buildup. So let's start by going inside Open Effects and type in BCC velocity remap. Let's drag this onto the cut section on the right just like this, and let's go all the way to the start of the cut just like this. Select the cut clip on the right, go into the effects tab and turn the temporal blur amount down to 0 and uncheck frame blending just like this. Now from here, make sure you're at the start of the cut clip just like this, and let's keyframe the velocity at 100%, and now let's go 44 frames to the right. Once you are 44 frames to the right, let's add another keyframe. Now let's go 8 frames to the right. Once you're 8 frames to the right, let's add a keyframe and turn the velocity down to 60%. Now from here, let's go 13 frames to the right. Once you are 13 frames to the right, let's add a keyframe and turn the velocity up to 180%, just like this. Now let's go 10 frames to the right. Let's add a keyframe and put the velocity down to 50%. Now let's go 5 frames to the right. And once you are 5 frames to the right, let's add a keyframe and leave the velocity at 50%. Now let's go 9 frames to the right. Then let's add a keyframe and turn the velocity to 190%, just like this. Now from here, let's go 6 frames to the right, add a keyframe, and then put the velocity down to 50%. From here, we can go 2 frames to the right, add a keyframe. Now let's go 7 frames to the right, add a keyframe, and once again, leave the velocity at 50%. Now let's go into our kill, add a keyframe, and adjust the velocity so it's on the kill. So I already know 270% worked for me, but yours might be something different. Then let's go 6 frames to the right. Then let's add a keyframe and then turn the velocity down to 50%. Hopefully that all made sense. If you guys need to replay it, feel free to. Now for the impact, let's go into the effects tab, drag the adjustment clip, and cut it at the end of our clip, just like this. Right click on it and select Open in Fusion page. And in the description below, I'll have a Google Drive with all the presets. Go inside the impact and drag in the Apie flicker impact. Connect the media in to the S_shake, and then the flicker to the media out. Now we can go back into the edit tab, right click on the adjustment clip and select render cache color output. Once your impact is fully rendered, let's go back into the effects tab, drag in another adjustment clip, go to the start of it, right click and select open in Fusion page. And let's go to frame number 23, just like this. Now let's go back into the edit tab, cut it, delete the excess, and put the end of this adjustment clip on the start of our kill, just like this. Then right click on the adjustment clip and select Open in Fusion page. Go into the folder that I provided, but this time let's go inside of Buildups and drag in the Flicker Buildup 23. Connect the media in to the S_shake, and then the blur mode curves to the media out. Now we can go back into the edit tab. Let's right click and select render cache color output. And while it's rendering, let's drag in another adjustment clip, go to the start of it, right click and select open in Fusion page. But this time go to frame number 24, just like this. Now we can go back into the edit tab, cut it, delete the excess. Now let's line up the adjustment clip just like this. Go to the start of it, right click and select open in Fusion page. Once again, go into the folder, and then this time drag in the zoom buildup 24. And then connect in the blur mode curve just like this. And now for the last time, let's go back into the edit tab, drag in one more adjustment clip, go to the start of it, right click and select open in Fusion page, and go to frame number 65 just like this. Now let's go back into the edit tab, cut it, delete the excess. Now let's go to the start of it, right click, select open in Fusion page, go into the folder one last time and drag in the zoom buildup 65 just like this. Now let's connect in the blur mode curve, and now we can go back into the edit tab and right click on the two adjustment clips that we just imported and select render cache color output. So with everything fully rendered, it should look like this. And now to make it even better, let's go onto our kill, go into the generators tab and drag in a solid color. Go to the start of it and let's make it 4 frames long, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it, delete the excess. Now let's line this up so it's on our kill, just like this. Let's click on it, go into the settings tab, and let's put the opacity to 80%. And then let's fade it out all the way, just like this. Now let's go 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's click on it, hold Alt, left click and drag. So what this will do is create a duplicate. Let's click on it, make sure we are in the settings tab and put the opacity to 75. Go to the end of it. Now let's go 4 frames to the left again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Click on it, hold Alt, left click and drag. But this time let's put the opacity down to 60 for this one. Now from here, let's drag in another solid color just like this. But this time let's make it 10 frames long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cut it, delete the excess, and drag it behind this solid color just like this. And make sure we are on this one and go 3 frames to the left. 1, 2, 3, just like this. And make sure the end of it lines up just like how mine is. But this time we're gonna fade it in all the way. We're gonna click on it and we're gonna make the opacity 65. Just like that. With the solid colors added, it should look like this. And I think that looks pretty good. Now for some of the audio editing, let's go onto our kill and go 1 frame to the left and cut our song. And let's just put a 1 frame fade in just like this to our kill. Let's go 3 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3. Cut it, delete this portion. Now let's go 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it, let's fade it in by 1 frame and fade it out by 1 frame. Let's go 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it, delete the excess. 4 frames to the left again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it, fade it in, and then fade it out, just like this. Now from here, let's go 4 frames to the left, once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut our song, delete this, and now let's go 10 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's cut this portion, but this time let's fade it in, just like this, and put a slight curve into it. Now from here, let's go to the end of the first adjustment clip, so that should be this one right here, and let's cut our song just like this, and delete this excess. Now from here, let's fade this out by about 57 frames, and let's put a slight up curve into it, just like this. Now from here, you want to click on this song portion right here, hold Alt and drag it down another track, and now let's go 57 frames to the left. Once you are 57 frames to the left, let's cut our song and delete the portion on the left, just like this. Now let's undo this fade out and let's make it a fade in, and let's put a slight up curve, just like this. Now from here, let's go inside of audio effects and search up echo and drag this onto the bottom song track, just like this. Let's close out of this tab, click on the song, make sure we are in the effects tab, and turn the dry and wet down to 25.2, just like this. So what this will do is put a slight echo into the bottom audio track, so it should sound like this. You might not notice it, but it does make a difference. There is a slight echo at the very end. Now from here, let's go into the middle of these 2 adjustment clips, just like this, and let's go down to our audio tracks, And let's re-extend this so it looks like this. Now let's go back just like this and let's cut it and let's drag it down another track. Hopefully this is all making sense. It might get a little bit confusing. Now what we want to do is click on this bottom portion and just delete the echo. Now let's go inside of audio effects, but this time let's search up our reverb and drag this onto the bottom section. And let's put the reverb time, the 3000, just like this. Now what we can do is close out of this, click on the song and make sure we're inside the effects tab. Scroll down until we find dry and wet and put it to 25. So something like 25.19 should work. Then let's fade it out all the way, just like this. So hopefully that all did make sense. With the audio edited, it should sound like this. I'll play it back one more time. And I think that sounds pretty good. And one more thing I forgot to mention, if you'd like to fade out your song, you can just fade it out just like this. Something like 2 seconds should be good. Then you can put a slight ease into it. Now to fade out the clip, let's go inside of video transitions and drag in a cross dissolve. Click on it and make the duration about 0.5 seconds. Now for some sound effects, let's drag in the spaz headshot or whatever shotgun you're going to be using and just line it up onto our kill. So line up the waveform, and if yours is lacking like how mine is, untick the magnet, then you should be able to drag it freely. So I'm going to do something like that, then make sure to relock it. And then I don't need all of this, so I'm just going to cut out some of the excess. I'm going to fade it out by about 1 second. And since this is a little bit louder, I'm going to make it about -1.5 decibels. One thing I'd like to mention, depending on your shotgun, you might have to raise up the decibels or you might have to lower it even more. Now let's drag in the bass swoosh and put this under our shotgun, just like this. But this time let's right click on it and select change clip speed and select reverse speed, then let's hit change and just kind of line up the waveform like how mine is. So I like to do something like this. And for the bass swoosh, we can cut out some of this at the start, just like this. And I'm gonna fade mine in all the way. And then once again, we can put a slight ease into it. Bass swoosh can stay at 0 decibels. Now what we can do is drag in the pump _3, drag this under the bass swoosh, and let's just line this up, just like this. So make sure we're on our kill, and just simply line it up to about something like this. It honestly doesn't have to be perfect. And then once again, we can cut out some of this dead time. And for the pump, you want to make it about at least -5.5. You might have to make it quieter depending on the clip, but for sure do -5.5. And what we want to do is put a pretty heavy fade into it. So something like 140. And let's put a strong ease into it, just like this. And let's fade it out and then put a slight curve into it as well. Now for the last sound effect, let's drag in the build-up wave, just like this. And make sure your playhead marker is on your kill. And put the end of the build-up to the start of your playhead marker, just like this. And let's go 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's cut it, and then let's delete this portion. Now from here, let's go 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it. Let's put in a 1 second fade in and a 1 second fade out. Let's click on it and put it to -5.2 decibels. Now let's go another 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it. Delete this portion. Go another 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it. Let's put in a 1 second fade in, a 1 second fade out. Click on it and put the -5.2 decibels. And for the last time, let's go 4 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it. Delete this portion. But on this portion right here, let's make it -3.8 decibels. And let's put like a 2 frame fade out into it. And let's put in a pretty hefty fade in, so something like 112 should work. And put a slight curve into it, just like this. Now from here, let's go inside of audio effects and search up a pitch. And drag us onto the first buildup, just like this. And let's put the sense, the -48, that we can close out of this. On the second one, so this one right here, let's drag on pitch. Let's put the sense, the -80. Close out of this, and then the last buildup, let's drag it onto here and put the sense the -100. Then we can close out of this. With the sound effects added, it should sound like this. And personally, I think the sound effects is what brings this whole edit together. Now to render our montage, let's go to the start of our video, go into the Deliver tab, and make sure we are using a custom export. From here, put the file name, the no color correction. And let's save this to our downloads or wherever you want on your computer, then hit save. Switch the format to an MP4, and then make sure the resolution is custom and it's 2560 by 1440 with the FPS being 60. Now the restricted to kilobyte rate, yours might be 80,000, but what you want to do is delete 80,000 and hold the number 2 on your keyboard until you can't no more, then hit enter. And where it says every keyframes, yours might be every 30 frames, but turn it down to every 1 frame. Then open up advanced settings and check force sizing to the highest quality and force debayer to the highest quality. Then we can click add to render queue and then render all. And once your render has been completed, it should say completed. Now let's go back into the edit tab and drag in our rendered file. So mine is right here. And let's put this to the end of our timeline, just like this. Let's go to the start of it and let's hit I on our keyboard. Go to the end of it and then let's hit O on our keyboard. Now what we can do is drag in an adjustment clip and make it the entire length as our rendered file, just like this. And now on the adjustment clip, let's right click and select Open in Fusion page. Go into the folder that I provided and make sure you're inside the color correction plus RSMB folder and drag in the Apie color correction preset. From here, connect the media in to the brightness contrast, then the color corrector to the media out. Now if we go back into the edit tab, you can tell we have a nice Apie color correction. Now from here on, what you guys would want to do is re-render this video with the same render settings as I just showed you before. Obviously this would be the file that you upload to YouTube, the one with the color correction and RSMB. Overall, if you guys did find this tutorial helpful, please let me know in the comments below. Once again, thank you guys so much for all the support recently, and I'll see you guys in the next video.